20 years ago, a dad and his son were wandering through the woods close to their cabin in Washington state when they became aware that they were being watched. Later that evening, Augustine shows up to look for the man with armed gunmen. The youngster is able to divert Augustine's attention long enough for his father to retaliate after he uses a pair of dice to decide the destiny of his victims. But as his kid flees after the man gives him the command to do so, he hears the deadly gunshot and sees the baddies setting their cabin on fire. As he gets older, the youngster takes on the name Snake Eyes, driven by anger. Today, Snake Eyes engages in combat underground against a very bigger foe. Despite being outmatched at first, Snake Eyes utilizes cunning to gain the upper hand and overcome the opponent. Following the altercation, he meets Kenta, a man who has been obsessed with Snake Eyes' father's murder for years and claims to know who killed him. Snake Eyes reluctantly takes Kenta's job offer. Snake Eyes works with a young man named Tommy Arashikage at a fish plant in the Los Angeles port area for the next 4 weeks. They are unaware that the fish factory is a cover for Kenta's Yakuza. Tommy is put to death by Snake Eyes when Kenta accuses him of spying for his own clan. But after becoming close to Tommy, Snake Eyes chooses to help him repel the other men and go away. Although they make it to a boat, Snake Eyes is rendered comatose in the process. When Snake Eyes wakes up, he is on a plane with Tommy, who thanks him for saving his life. Tommy discloses that he and Kenta are cousins who once competed for the position of Arashikage clan chief. Consequently, Kenta attempted Tommy's murder. Tommy brings Snake Eyes to Tokyo to introduce him to the Arashikage clan and initiate him as a new member, since Tommy knows that Snake Eyes' life will be in jeopardy if he goes back to the States. Snake Eyes encounters Sen, the clan's current head and Tommy's grandmother, as well as Akiko, the clan's advisor, in Tokyo. Snake Eyes has to complete 3 tasks in order to be accepted as a full member of the clan, since she cannot locate any documentation of his presence in America. Akiko grows skeptical of him, supposing he has been living off the grid for some time. Snake Eyes meets the 2 instructors, Hard Master and Soft Master, during the first task. He must remove a bowl of water from Hard Master's grasp without spilling any of the contents. At first, Snake Eyes tries to fight Hard Master for the bowl by using force. He chooses to just ask Hard Master to switch bowls, remembering his father's instruction to let go of his ego, and he succeeds in the task. Since Kenta is still serving as Snake Eyes' mole, Snake Eyes meets with him in private during his free time in an effort to sneak into the Arashikage clan and steal the Jewel of the Sun, an artifact. Kenta agrees to give Snake Eyes information regarding Augustine's location in return. Snake Eyes and the Blind Master meet in the second challenge. He returns to the scene of his father's murder by following a bright blue light. There, he confronts his father's apparition and apologizes for failing to save him, feeling accountable for his demise. Blind Master tells Snake Eyes that the goal of the challenge is to release the responsibilities that weigh on the participant, not to win or lose. When the Arashikage clan learns of Kenta's being in the city, they engage his goons in combat. They find a cache of firearms that the terrorist group Cobra had given to Kenta during the battle. Akiko relays information regarding Kenta's relationship with Cobra with their agent, Scarlett O'Hara, who is also a member of the G.I. Joes. Scarlett is pursuing the Baroness, a senior Cobra agent who is wanted for terrorist activities. Later on, Snake Eyes meets Kenta, and the Baroness presents herself. She reminds him of their agreement to kill Augustine in return for information by playing a video of him in prison. Snake Eyes nearly gets caught trying to enter the temple to secure the jewel, but he escapes back to his apartment before Akiko can apprehend him. Akiko gives them honest counsel during their private discussion concerning Snake Eyes' intentions. Snake Eyes must contend with 3 enormous anacondas in a pit in the third and last task. He remembers Akiko telling him to be open-hearted, but the anacondas attack him when he laughs. He is spared time nevertheless. Sen and the Masters are presented with Akiko, Tommy, and Snake Eyes. Driven by a lifetime desire for vengeance against the person who killed his father, Snake Eyes admits that his heart is not pure. Sen, who spares Snake Eyes' life after Blind Master verifies the truth, declares that Snake Eyes cannot join the Arashikage clan. Snake Eyes bids Tommy farewell before departing, and they both cut their hands on the sword Tommy gave him to sign a blood contract. Later that evening, Snake Eyes watches Tommy and Akiko go to the jewel, and he enters the temple using the blood that was cleaned off the sword. When he reaches for the gem, Akiko notices him and tells him where her scar came from. When Tommy learns what transpired, he joins the chase after her attempt to apprehend him. Snake Eyes escapes the compound in spite of their efforts. Snake Eyes delivers the jewel to Kenta, the Baroness, and their goons at the prearranged spot. Kenta burns one of his thugs to test its strength. After that, Snake Eyes is permitted to face Augustin. Snake Eyes asks to know why his father was killed before he kills him. Augustin discloses that he was formerly employed by Cobra and performed that hit on his father at their direction. Snake Eyes resolves to stop Kenta instead of killing Augustin after realizing that Cobra is the true enemy. Tommy and Akiko ride motorcycles after Snake Eyes as he makes his way back to the Arashikage. When Kenta's thugs attack, he demonstrates his loyalty by using his skills to avoid them. Snake Eyes and Tommy take over a car to get back to the facility after beating the invaders, while Akiko rides back. When Kenta and his squad arrive, they attack the Arashikage members in a deadly manner. Kenta deceives the Baroness by disclosing his intention to use the jewel against Cobra as she attempts to seize it for herself. To protect their clan's home, Snake Eyes, Tommy, and Akiko team up with Scarlet and the Masters. In order to take on Kenta, the Baroness temporarily joins forces with Scarlet. Kenta and a few other men are left to fight the heroes after they defeat the majority of his goons together. Sen brings the heroes together and commends them for rescuing the Arashikage. But she also tells them that Tommy's attempt to use the jewel against someone else prevents him from becoming the clan's leader. The purpose of the diamond is clan protection, not personal grudges. Furious, Tommy flees and accuses Snake Eyes of causing the disaster, promising to murder him if they ever see one another again. After finding a new residence, Snake Eyes talks to Akiko about his strategy for finding Tommy. When Scarlet shows up, she gives Snake Eyes files that include details on his father. According to the documents, Snake Eyes' father was a Joe's member who had saved many lives by giving crucial information about Cobra. He became a target for Cobra as a result, and in order to keep them both safe, he concealed them and destroyed any official documents pertaining to Snake Eyes' background or real identity. With this newfound understanding, Snake Eyes receives his recognizable mask and armor and rides off on a motorcycle to go get Tommy. Tommy, meanwhile, is flying to an unidentified location. The flight attendant turns out to be the Baroness, who extends an invitation for him to join Cobra. Tommy accepts and makes the decision to change his name to Storm Shadow. The film ends here.